Hello all, myself Dr. Vartya Jagan, working as an associate professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, BBIT. So in this lecture, I am going to discuss about the rectifiers, and these are the contents which I am going to explain. Right? So this is about the rectifier, and you all know that rectifier is a device. It is a static device which converts AC to a DC value. It will convert fixed AC to variable DC and vice versa, right? So now this is what our power electronic converter, which will consist of one or more semiconductor switching devices in order to perform the AC to DC conversion. Right here, you can see the input to this power transistor converter is a constant voltage and constant frequency supply, and that is being converted into a variable DC here. Right, we will see what are there inside this power electronic converter blocks. And these are the few applications of these uh, phase control rectifier. Nowadays, many industries are using these controllable DC powers like steel mills, rolling mills, paper mills, printing presses, and textile mills. These uses a DC motor drives where you can use these phase control rectifier. In nowadays traction system also we can use the DC series motor, and in order to control the DC series motor, we are going to use the phase control rectifier. Uh, Electrochemical and electromechanical process also we can use this DC to DC converter, and high voltage DC transmission. So there also you can use magnet power supplies and portable hand tool devices. These are few applications where you can use this phase control rectifier, right? And when it comes to the types of this rectifier, these rectifiers are broadly classified into two types: uncontrolled rectifiers and controlled rectifier. So in case of uncontrolled rectifier, we are using uncontrolled devices, uncontrolled semi-controlled devices like diode. Whereas in case of controlled rectifier, we are using um, the controlled elements such as it may be semi-controlled device or it can be fully controlled device. The example of semi-controlled device is SCR, whereas fully controlled device MOSFET, IGBT, BJT, all those things are the fully controlled devices. So let us discuss about uncontrolled device. So here it is a, you can see here the power electronic converter block, and this arrow marks represent the direction of current, and it will flow from source to load. So here we are providing AC input, which is a source, and here we are going to connect the DC uh, load, right? And since we are using uncontrolled device, so you can get uncontrollable voltage at the DC side. So here it is performing the fixed AC to fixed DC. Suppose you want to, if you want to vary the voltage, we need to vary the source, and that is not possible because sources remain constant, right? So it is called a uncontrolled rectifier. Then coming to the control rectifier, where you can use control elements such as thyristors, which is a semi-controlled device, right? MOSFET, IGBT, BJT, and these are the fully controlled devices. And you can also use diodes in addition to these devices. We will see in this chapter we are going to discuss about this control rectifier. And here you can see the block diagram, the configuration. So this is what our power electronic converter block, and which will perform the AC to DC conversion. Here you can see. So it is converting fixed AC to a variable DC or controllable DC, you can say. This controllable DC can be possible by using the control elements inside this block. Okay, so this is about the control rectifier. Now I will uh, give small idea about what is uncontrolled rectifier. Right, so this is the circuit configuration for this uncontrolled rectifier. You can see uncontrolled rectifier. So now you can see here in between the source and load, we are using an uncontrolled device which is diode, and now this is what our power electronic converter P E C, and which will convert the AC power which is fed to this water converter to a DC power which is fed to the load, right? We'll see. And this potash converter consists of only one diode, and which is performing the AC to DC conversion, right? Now we'll see the operation of its uncontrolled rectifier. Now you can see here, I'm going to mark with the blue color, green color. You can see, okay, the green color represents we are going to control, we are going to convert this only positive half cycle with the help of this circuit configuration, right? And now I'm going to mark with the red color. You can see here we are not able to convert this negative half cycle to a positive half cycle with the help of this configuration. So that is why I have marked the green and red color here. So you can see during positive half cycle means this polarity will be positive, here it will be get positive, and here we will get negative. So you can see anode is connected to this positive and cathode is connected to the negative through the resistive load. So the diode, it is in forward bias condition, and it will start conducting from omega t equals 0 onwards. So that means from omega t equals 0 onwards, if you want to see the output voltage waveform, and since it is in conduction state during this complete positive half cycle from omega equal to 0 to pi, then you can see the complete output voltage which is same as the input voltage. You can see the input voltage waveform, which means the output voltage following the input voltage from omega t equals 0 to omega t equal to pi. You can see the input waveform. This is a dotted input waveform. And you can see the load is resistive load. If the load is resistive load, and the current that should be in phase with the voltage waveform. So it is following the output voltage waveform, right? And if you want to see the voltage across the diode VD, so since diode it is in conduction state and it is carrying the current like this, supply positive, diode anode, diode cathode, load and back to the supply negative. So diode it is in conduction state. So the voltage across the diode, if it is ideal one, it should be 0. You can see here. But due to practical condition, I wrote it here. I wrote as 1 to 2 volts. That is for practical diode. Right. Now, if you move on to mode 2, I will elaborate with red color so that you can easily understand. So mode 2 matlab, which is from omega t equal to pi to 2 pi, you can see this portion. And during this interval, you are getting reverse voltage across the input side of this potash converter. So this is what our potash converter. Now previously it was positive, now it is reverse, matlab it is negative. And previously it was negative, and here it will get positive. That means now the anode of thyristor is connected to negative terminal. You can see this anode terminal is connected to negative, and the cathode is connected to positive, which means the diode it is in reverse bias condition. You can see here the diode it is in reverse bias condition. So if it is a reverse bias condition, the diode state forward, it will goes to the off state. And off state means now we need to replace this diode with open circuit. If it is an open circuit condition, I won't get any current. That means current should be 0. The same current which is flowing to the load as well. So if the current equals 0, I can say the output voltage also becoming 0. So that's why during this complete negative half cycle from pi to 2 pi, you won't observe any output voltage or output current, right? And even though it is in open condition, the diode anode still is connected to negative terminal, cathode is connected to positive terminal. So it is having reverse voltage across it. So you can see the voltage across the diode is a reverse voltage. You can see this reverse portion, right? And you can also derive the average output voltage for this waveform. So now if you want to derive the average output voltage, we need to consider the area under this positive half cycle only. and we need to take the complete one cycle so that you can calculate. Now you can say average output voltage 1 by 2 pi alpha to pi. We are getting some voltage here to here, which is this shape, which is varying with sin omega t, and plus pi to 2 pi, we are getting 0 voltage. So I have represented here 0. The same thing I have rewritten here, and I can take Vm common here. It is Vm by 2 pi, and integration of minus sin omega t, which is minus cos omega t, and the limits are 0 to pi. And you just substitute upper limit and lower limit. If you substitute here Vm by 2 pi minus cos upper limit, which is pi, minus into minus plus cos lower limit, which is 0. So you know the cos 180 is minus 1, minus 1, this minus 1 will be get plus 1, and cos 0 it is 1, so it is 1. 1 plus 1, 2, these 2 and these 2 will get cancelled. So we'll get the average output voltage as Vm by pi. So this is about the controlled, uncontrolled rectifier, where you can see the output voltage which is not controllable. Here you can see the Vm is constant, so supply voltage, which is root 2 times the supply voltage. Here you can write Vm equal to under root 2 into V supply, right? Which is always constant, and pi is also constant. So you can see the average output voltage is always constant. Now, this is what about uncontrolled rectifier. We are not going to discuss about this uncontrolled rectifier. Now we are focusing more on the control rectifier, right? So now in the olden days, earlier, they were, DC power was obtained from the motor generator set, right? And you know this motor generator, in order to convert AC into DC, you need AC motor and DC generator, and both are machines, and they are rotating. And due to that one, you will be having friction losses, windage losses. And the maximum efficiency you may get around 80%, but which is not always possible to get this 80% efficiency. Now, if you use some static elements instead of this rotating element, it will be better and the efficiency will be very, very high. And that is possible with the help of these thyristors. Right, nowadays, all these motor generator sets in the industries are replaced by these thyristors. Now here, it is called phase control rectifier. Okay, and in case of phase control rectifier, it is fed from the AC supply. And if you see the thyristor will be having this kind of voltage. You can say AC voltage, which means at after each 180 degrees, the AC voltage naturally becoming 0. So the thyristor phase control rectifier uses natural commutation. We should not require any commutation circuitry to make the thyristor off. So thyristor will goes to off automatically at this particular point. So the line commutation or natural commutation is being used in case of phase control rectifier. And due to this no circuit commutation circuit, it is simple, less expensive, and therefore it is widely used in most of the industries wherever you want to control the DC power. This is about controlled rectifier. Right. Now we move to what do you mean by this phase control rectifier. So to understand that one, I have taken this as an example. You can see here, this is a single phase half wave rectifier. Right. So now these are the expected waveforms for the single phase half wave rectifier. You can see here. You can see here. This is now I have replacing the diode which you have seen in the last PPT with the thyristor, which is a control device. You can say semi-control device. So this block represents the power electronic converter. Here also the power type converter consists of only one device, which is a thyristor, which is performing the AC into a DC conversion. So we'll see how we are going to convert the AC into DC. And in order to understand in a better way, now I am going to mark a few points here. So here you can see I'm marking this positive half cycle with the green color, which means we are going to control and convert this positive half cycle, right? And I am going to mark the negative half cycle with red color, which implies we are not able to control, we are not going to control and convert this negative half cycle with the help of this circuit configuration, right? So which means this control and converter of this positive half cycle is possible with the help of this single thyristor here. Now we'll see how we are going to control. Right. Now if you see during positive half cycle, and this polarity will be positive and this polarity will be negative. That means anode of T is connected to positive and cathode of T is connected to negative through the load, which means the thyristor, it is in forward biased condition, and you can turn it on with the help of this gate terminal. And you can see here at omega T equal to alpha, alpha is the firing angle. We will give the definition of this firing angle, and at this particular point we are going to make this thyristor on. Right, making the thyristor on means it is replaced by short circuit, and you know the current always leaves from positive terminal. It is leaving from supply positive, T anode, T cathode, load, and supply negative. So this is the direction of current which is flowing from source to load and back to the source. Now from this point onward, if you recall the previous slide, wherever the SCR goes to conduction state, since this load and the battery source, they are connected in parallel, so the source will be subjected to the load will be subject to the source voltage. So that means from omega T equal to alpha onwards, the output voltage following the input voltage. You can see the input voltage waveform with dotted line. And if you see the load here, load is a resistive load, and in case of resistive load, the current and the voltage, they should be in phase. So you can see the output current waveform which is in phase with the output voltage waveform, right? And at omega T equal to pi, you can see the current and the voltage both are becoming zero, and the current becoming zero means the net current which is flowing through this thyristor is becoming zero. The same current is flowing to the load as well, so the thyristor will goes to off condition at this particular point. Right, and if you want to understand about negative half cycle, so during negative half cycle, you can see already the thyristor is in off condition from this point onward, and just after this omega T equal to pi, you can see this negative portion. So during next portion, this polarity will be negative now, and here it will be positive. Now you can see this anode of thyristor is connected to negative, and the cathode is connected to positive through the load, which means the thyristor, it is in reverse bias condition. If it is in reverse bias condition, it will be in off state. If it is in off state means you won't get any current which is flowing to the load which is same as the thyristor current. Now due to that zero current, you will get zero voltage because output voltage equal to output current multiplied by the resistance. So you cannot see any voltage and current during pi to 2 pi. But even though you are not getting any voltage across the load and current to the load, you can see there some voltage across the thyristor, because even if you apply KVL, the applied voltage should be equal to drop across this one plus drop across this one. So the applied voltage is a negative voltage, and which will be impressed across the thyristor. So thyristor is having negative voltage across it. So this is what about phase controlled concept of the phase control techniques. Now I am going to give the definition. I said I'm going to do here. We are going to focus on this. What do you mean by firing angle? So firing angle may be defined as the angle between the instant the thyristor would conduct if it were a diode and the instant it is triggered. So you can see it is measured from this one. That means it is measured from this point onwards. So you can see at omega T equal to 0 onwards. If you replace this thyristor with a diode, then it will start conducting from this point on. So which means the firing angle is measured from this point onwards. So you can see the next definition. The angle measured from the angle that gives the largest average output voltage, the highest load voltage. Or you can see in other words, if you trigger at this particular point, so which is our firing angle, so it is measured from the reference point to here. Now you can see if you take the average over the cycle, you'll get maximum output voltage. That's the meaning of that one. And it is one more definition he has given. Firing angle may be defined as the angle measured from the instant SCR gets forward biased to the instant where it is triggered. Now you can see here from this point onward the SCR is in forward bias condition because we are getting positive half cycle from this point onward, and here we are going to trigger the SCR. So this distance is called firing angle. Right, I am going to give one more firing angle definition here. It is the angle measured from the reference point to the point where SCR goes to the conduction state. Again, the same thing here. it is the angle measured from the reference point. This is what our reference point at omega t equal to pi to the point at which the SCR goes to conduction state. So this is what the firing angle. So there are some, these are the few different types of definition for firing angle you can find. All this gives the correct exact definition. It is better to go through these two definitions. It will be better, right? So here by using this firing angle, you can see by varying the firing angle alpha, the phase relationship between the start of the load current and the supply voltage can be controlled. Hence the term phase control is used for such a method of controlling the load current. So this is what we are controlling the phase relationship between the load current and the supply voltage. So it is called phase control rectifier. Now I am going to give the classification of this converter. So as we are discussing about, as we are focusing on only control rectifier, so these control rectifier are classified into three types: single phase converter, three phase converter, and dual converter. In case of dual converter, we'll be having two converter which are connected in back-to-back configuration. So we will see that this dual converter can be fed from single phase supply or three phase supply. Now, if the available supply is single phase AC, now it will be AC single phase converter. This single phase converter again classified into half wave converter and full wave converter. So in case of half wave, we are going to control and convert only half portion of the complete cycle. But in case of full wave converter, we are going to control and convert both positive half cycle as well as negative half cycle. And based upon the configuration, circuit configuration, this full wave converter again classified into two types: midpoint type configuration and bridge type configuration. And this bridge type configuration again classified into two types: fully controlled converter and semi-controlled converter. In case of fully controlled converter, we'll be having 4 thyristor, but in case of semi-controlled converter, which is also called as half controlled converter, we'll be having half of the number of thyristor which are used in full controlled converter. Means you'll be using 2 thyristor and 2 diodes in case of semi-controlled converter. Now again, three-phase converter classified into three types here: half wave converter, where you can control only half portion of the complete one cycle, and the semi-controlled converter and full control converter. Right. Now we are going to focus on the single phase converter first with half wave rectifier. Now we are going to discuss this half wave, single phase half wave converter. Now you can see. Now if you see, this is a circuit configuration in case of single phase half wave controlled converter, which means we are controlling and converting only half portion of the complete cycle. Now you can see here, this is what the complete cycle. Either you can control this positive half cycle or you can control negative half cycle, but not both, right? So that is the meaning of this half wave controlled converter. So for this configuration, we can use only positive half cycle. To control the negative half cycle, you can interchange the position of anode and cathode terminal so that you can control negative half cycle. So now this is what about single phase half wave controlled converter with R load. So just I am replacing this load with this resistive load, and this is the equivalent circuit in case of half wave controlled converter with resistive load. Now these are the waveform. Just now we have discussed the same waveform you can see here. And here you can see, just now already we have discussed, but again I am going to discuss here. During positive half cycle, this portion from omega t equal to pi to 2 pi, where omega t is lying between 0 and pi. And during this one, here it will be positive and here it will be negative. That means thyristor anode is connected to positive, cathode is connected to negative terminal. So it will be in forward bias condition and it will start conducting from omega t equal to alpha onwards, because alpha is the firing angle you can see here. So from this point onward, the output voltage following the input voltage, and you can see the current, output current, which is in phase with the output voltage because it is a resistive load. And if you want to see the voltage across thyristor is blocking the voltage during the omega t equal to alpha. And during this alpha region, the thyristor is blocking the forward voltage, and from omega t equal to alpha to omega t equal to pi, the thyristor will be in on condition. On condition means it is replaced by short circuit, and you all know that during short circuit condition, the voltage should be 0, but this is about 1 to 2 volts. This is due to the practical device. And if you want to see during negative half cycle, so during negative half cycle, here it will be negative and here it will be positive. That means thyristor will be in reverse bias condition. So whenever it is in reverse bias condition, the thyristor is replaced by off. You can see now the thyristor will be in off condition. If it is in off condition, you won't get any voltage because the current which is flowing through the thyristor as well as load is equal to 0. So you can see there is no output voltage and there is no output current here. But even though if you want get any voltage and current across the load and through the load, still the thyristor anode is connected to negative and cathode is connected to positive. So you can see thyristor is blocking the reverse voltage. So I told you that thyristor will block both positive voltage as well as negative voltage, but it can allow the current in only one direction, which is from anode to cathode. Now I am going to derive the average output voltage expression in case of a single phase half wave controlled converter. Now, in order to calculate the average output voltage, we need to consider the complete one cycle. So this is what complete one cycle you can see here, and you can see from pi to 2 pi there is no output voltage, and you can see the output voltage from alpha to pi. So if you consider the area under this curve, that will give the average voltage, right? So that is what we are going to see here. Now you can see 1 over 2 pi, because I am going to consider complete one cycle, which is 1 by 2 pi. Alpha to pi, we are getting Vm sin omega t. So which means the output voltage following the input voltage. That's why I have written Vm sin omega t. And plus pi to 2 pi, you can see 0, because you can see pi to 2 pi, the 0 output voltage. Alpha can be anywhere, it can be 0 also, it can be 180 also, right? So now you can see here, I can take Vm common, it is Vm by 2 pi here. And now integration of sin omega t, which is equal to minus cos omega t, and you just see the upper limit and lower limit. Now you just substitute upper limit and lower limit. Vm by 2 pi minus cos upper limit pi minus into minus plus cos lower limit is alpha, cos alpha, right? And you all know that cos 180 is equal to minus 1. Minus 1 minus 1 will get, you can say plus 1 here. Vm by 2 pi 1 plus cos alpha, which is the average output voltage. So if you know this is the expression for average output voltage, you can easily calculate at what value you can get maximum output voltage. So by this expression, if you see, if you substitute alpha equal to 0, where you can get maximum output voltage. So at alpha equal to 0, you can get maximum output voltage. Alpha 0 means cos 0. It is 1. 1 plus 1, 2. This 2 in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled. It is Vm by pi. So you can see it from alpha equal 0 means you can see the waveform. It is starting from omega t equal 0 to omega t equal 2 pi. The area will be maximum, so that you can get maximum average output voltage. And if you know the average output voltage, you can calculate the average output voltage current by just dividing the average output voltage by R. You can see it as Vm by 2 pi R 1 plus cos alpha. This is about the single phase half wave rectifier with R load. And now we are focusing on the derivation of RMS output voltage. RMS output voltage, the same waveform you can take here, and you can see I can take Vm square out of the root, it is, and 2 pi out of the root. It is Vm by 2 under root 2 pi. Under root alpha 2 pi, we are getting some voltage which is sin square omega t, plus pi to 2 pi, you can see 0, right? And instead of sin square omega t, I can write 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2, and I can do this 2, I can take this 2 out of the root. Here root 2, you can write directly 2 root pi. You can see here, it is Vm by 2 root pi under root. It is just 1 minus cos 2 omega t. You just separate these two parts. Alpha 2 pi 1 d omega t minus alpha 2 pi integral over cos 2 omega t d omega t. And integration of constant is omega t. The upper limit pi and lower limit is alpha. And minus integration of cos 2 omega t, it will be sin 2 omega t divided by 2. You can see here, and you can substitute the upper limit and lower limit. And if you substitute those limits, you will get the average of RMS output voltage as this one. It is Vm by 2 root pi under root pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sin 2 alpha. So if you want to calculate the RMS output current, you just divide the RMS output voltage divided by the load resistance. That will give the RMS output current. Right. Now we are going to see about the power delivered to the load, how much power it is delivered to the load. That is what I'm going to explain here. So the power delivered to the load, you can write it as RMS voltage across the load and RMS current which is flowing to the load. So P naught equal to, you can write V naught RMS into I naught RMS. In terms of voltage, you can write V naught square uh, RMS by R, or in terms of current, I naught square RMS into R. Right, this is by Ohm's law. And if you want to see the input volt amperes, so RMS source voltage into RMS, the total line current, that will give the input volt amperes. And since if you see the thyristors, which is connected in source as well as the load current will be same as the source current. We are going to see that one. Now you can substitute here input power factor. You can write it as power delivered to the load divided by input volt amperes. And power delivered to the load, you can write it as V naught RMS into I naught RMS, just now I told you. And divided by input volt amperes, this is the expression. So since the thyristor and source load, they are connected in series, if you recall the circuit configuration, I can cancel this I naught RMS into I naught RMS. And we left with V naught RMS divided by V supply. Now we know that V naught RMS equal to, in case of half wave control converter, Vm by 2 root pi under root pi minus alpha plus sine 2 1 by 2 sine 2 alpha. Now if you substitute instead of this Vm, if you substitute 2 under root 2 V supply, and you can supply in the numerator, V supply in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled. So we left with this root 2 here. Here I can write 2 this 2 into root 2 into root 2. This root 2 will get cancelled. So we left 1 by under root 2 pi under root pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sine alpha. So this is the expression for the input power factor of this single phase half control converter with R load. Now we are moving to RL load. So just I have replaced the load with the RL load. So R means resistive, L means inductive. Right. Now these are the expected waveform you can see here. Now we are going to explain this one. So it is a half wave converter, means we are going to control and convert only half portion of the complete cycle. Right. So again, if you recall during positive half cycle, you just recall the previous slide. During positive half cycle, this is the positive half cycle. I am going to mark with a green color. It's a positive half cycle. We are going to convert and control this positive half cycle, and we are not going to control and convert this negative half cycle. That's why I represented with this with red mark. Now if you see, so during positive half cycle, you can see this portion. So during positive half cycle, here it will be positive and here it will be negative. So anode of T is connected to positive, cathode of T is connected to negative. So the thyristor is in forward bias condition and it will start conducting from omega T equal to alpha onwards. So you can see from this point on, the output voltage following the input voltage. We don't know up to what extent it will follow. That depends upon the value of the inductor which is there in series with the load. Now you can see it is following the input voltage, no doubt. It is following the dotted line. And since it is the resistive and inductive load, the current has to lag the voltage by some angle. And the lagging angle, I can write it as phi equal to tan inverse omega L by R. So depending upon this, the value of inductors and the resistance, there is a lag in the current with respect to the voltage. So the current is lagging the voltage by some angle and charging. That means during this complete positive half cycle, alpha to pi, you can say the inductor is charged to a voltage called some voltage having some energy in it, which is half Li square. So it is charged with this polarity, positive and negative. Now if you see after this omega T equal to pi, you are about to see negative voltage across the load, which means whatever energy it has, that has to be given to the source during the remaining period. And before it is discharging with energy, it has to replace its polarity. So it will be negative and here it will be positive, and it will start discharging with energy. It is taking the path like this. It is taking the path like this. Now to discharge its energy, the thyristor should be in conduction state. So you can see that means now you can see the discharging portion here. And the discharging may be here, discharging may be here, discharging may happen here. That depends upon the value of inductor. If you increase the value of inductor to a sufficient value, then discharging may take place here also, right? Which means it will store more energy and it will take more time to discharge the energy, right? So because of that conduction process, the thyristor will be in conduction state up to this point. So now this is called extinction angle. This point is called extinction angle. So you can see the definition of extinction angle. It is an angle measured from the reference point to the point at which the current extinguishes to zero. You can see with the beta here. Okay. Now I am going to, once again, I am going to give the definition of firing angle. You can see it is an angle measured from the reference point to the point at which the SCR goes to conduction state. So which is firing angle alpha. Now you can see extinction angle. Extinction angle is measured from the reference point to the point at which the current extinguishes to zero. So here the current is extinguished to zero. So that is called, it is extinction angle. Now you may have one more angle here, which is the conduction angle, which is represented by gamma. You can see during this instant from omega t equal to alpha to omega t equal to beta, thyristor is in conduction state. So this duration is called conduction angle, and is measured from the STR conducting point to the point at which the current extinguishes to zero. So here you can see gamma. Now the relationship between beta, gamma, and alpha is that beta should be equal to alpha plus gamma. So that is a relation between alpha, beta, and gamma. Right, where gamma is the conduction angle, alpha is the firing angle, and beta is the extinction angle. Now I am going to derive the average output voltage expression. Now you can see this area, we need to calculate the area under this curve. Okay, which I am going to draw with the green color here. So this positive and this negative portion. It may be positive and negative, but we are going to calculate the average. Right. So this is this portion. So now you can see the output voltage is there from omega t equal to alpha to omega t equal to beta. So I can see here 1 by 2 pi, because I need to calculate the average for one cycle. So I need to consider complete 1 by 2 pi. So it is 1 by 2 pi. Alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage which is very with respect to sin omega t. So Vm sin omega t plus beta to 2 pi. You can see during this portion, you won't get any voltage. So it is 0. And you can integrate, you can take Vm common, it is 2 Vm by 2 pi. Integration of sin omega t, integration of sin omega t will be, it is minus cos omega t. So you just substitute upper limit and lower limit, it will be minus cos upper limit beta minus into minus cos lower limit alpha. So you can write it here. So if you rewrite the above expression, it will be Vm by 2 pi into 1 cos alpha minus cos beta. And you can see, if you know the average output voltage, you can easily calculate the average output current by just dividing the voltage by the impedance Z. Right. So you may, that if you know the expression, if you substitute beta equal to pi, beta equal to pi means I will read here. Beta equal to pi means here it will the current will extend at this particular point. So now I can call it as a beta equal to pi means I can call this rectifier is R load rectifier, right? If you substitute beta equal to pi here, cos pi it is minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, you can say plus 1. It is Vm by 2 pi, 1 plus cos alpha, which we have derived in the last PPT in case of resistive load, right? So now we are going to derive the expression for the RMS output voltage. The same thing here, root mean square. So you can see the root here. Mean matlab we are going to consider the complete one cycle. So 1 by 2 pi, this is what the mean value. And square, we are squaring the input voltage, which is Vm square sin square omega t. And if you see the output responses, this responses from alpha to beta, we are getting some voltage, which is sin square omega t. And from beta to 2 pi, we are getting 0 voltage. So we should not, we won't consider this portion. Now you can rewrite alpha to beta sin square omega t. Sin square omega t, you can write it as 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. And you can take this 2 out of the root. So here you can say root 2, it is root 2, it will be 2. You can see here Vm by under root 2 pi. And alpha to beta 1 omega t, 1 into d omega t. And alpha to beta, this term cos 2 omega t. So I can write like this, Vm by 2 root pi just substitute the upper limit and lower limit. If you substitute the upper limit and lower limit, you will get this expression, right? So this is the RMS output voltage expression, right? If you know the RMS output voltage, you can calculate the RMS output current just by dividing the equation by Z. So you can see the RMS output current Vm by 2Z under root pi under root beta minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sine 2 alpha. Now, this is what about RL load, right? Now, I am going to discuss one problem here. You can see it is a single phase 230 volts, 1 kilowatt heater connected to single phase 230 volts, 50 hertz supply through an SCR. The firing angle delays of 45 degrees and 90 degrees. We need to calculate the power absorbed by the heater. Now I am going to read the circuit configuration for this question. Now you can see it is fed from the heater rating is, you can see, I can consider the heater as a resistive load. Okay, and the rating of this resistance he has given 230 volts and 1 kilowatts. Okay, and it is fed to the single phase supply through an SCR. So here we'll be having an SCR, and now here we are going to provide the single phase AC supply, single phase 230 volts and 50 hertz, right? And he asked to calculate the RMS output voltage. Power absorbed by the heater. So what power it is absorbing at this firing angle, that is what we are going to calculate, right? So in order to understand this one, now we discussed in the last slides that the power delivered to the load, it is given as V naught RMS into I naught RMS. In terms of voltage, you can write V square naught RMS divided by R. So if you know the heater resistance and if you know the average RMS output voltage at this firing angle, you can calculate how much power it is consumed by the resistive load, heater. Now we know V naught RMS in this expression, we have derived this expression. Now heater resistance, you can calculate. The rating they have mentioned, it is 230 volts and 1 kilowatt. V square divided by the power rating of the heater, that will give the resistance value, which is 52.9 ohms. 9, right? So we have calculated this R. Now we need to calculate the V naught RMS at different values of firing angle alpha, right? So now at firing angle alpha equal 45 degrees, now we all know that Vm equal to root 2 times supply. So root 2 into supply voltage 230 volts, 2 root pi is the same thing I have written here, under root, this pi is 180 here, 180 minus 45 degrees. So this whole term, it is in degrees. To convert degrees into radians, I am multiplying this quantity with pi by 180. And 1 by 2 sine 2 alpha. Sine 2 alpha means 45, 2 into 45 degrees. So if you calculate, if you calculate this expression, you will get the RMS output voltage equal to 155.071 volts. Right. Similarly, you can calculate, if you know the RMS output voltage, you just substitute this in this expression. Here you just substitute, right? So which is V naught RMS square divided by the R value, which is 52.9. So if you calculate, you will get this much power, which is consumed by the resistance of the heater. Now, similarly, you can calculate at firing angle 90 degrees. You just substitute, instead of 45, you just substitute 90 here, right? And if you do the calculation, you will get the RMS output voltage is this much, 115 volts. So you know the RMS output voltage and you know the resistance value. We just substitute in this expression so that you can get the RMS output voltage, power delivered to the load, which is equal to 250 watts. 250 watts. So thank you. This is about single phase half wave controlled converter with R and RL.